Sure.
Hello, Andrew. Thank you for the time that you share with us with the Deine Connections focus group. You have joined HCL approximately 1 year ago, I think, something like that.
That's right.
And lately your role has changed, which does have an impact for Connections, its customers, its business partners, etc. But before we come to the Connections part, first of all, who is Andrew Manby? I will ask you 10 questions that you might know from inside the Actor Studio, and maybe we have a better impression about you then. First question.
Okay, that's great.
What is your favorite word?
This was actually really good, Andreas. I mean, I went through a process of looking through this. I would say my favorite word is gratitude.
What's your least favorite word?
Intolerance.
What turns you on?
Well, this is actually interesting. So if you mean by what I think is most rewarding in life, I think it's about relationships, building relationships at all different sort of levels.
What turns you off?
Intolerance and ignorance.
What sound and noise do you love?
Music. I love music. I used to manage my son's teenage rock band. So, I mean, just the whole thing, you know, setting up, playing, just the whole noise is fantastic.
What sound or noise do you hate?
That's very easy. So your teacher on a blackboard with a piece of chalk, you know, going or finger like that.
What is your favorite curse word?
Oh, that's an English word. It's called bollocks.
I never heard this.
You've never heard of bollocks? Okay.
No.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Yeah, this is actually an interesting question because I've been dreaming about doing this job since I was 16. I didn't know what it was, but you know, I just had some idea about it when I first started playing with computers.
What profession would you not like to do?
Very easy. Something that causes me to go up very high and looking down from a great height, and also anything that's got a very it's a biohazard.
Last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Well, for me, it would be like, well, welcome and well done, you played full out. Which means, you know, from if you translate that from American to English, that means, you know, you made best of your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now that we have a little bit of an impression about Andrew Manby, maybe you can share, say a few words about your current role at HCL.
Absolutely. So actually my role is a new role at HCL. It didn't exist before. You know, I work, I'm the head of product management for all of the digital solutions products. So that means I have product management responsibility for the Domino portfolio, for Connections and Same Time. I have responsibility for DX. And then I have responsibility for our low-code products in the with Volt.
How is that role different from the role you have had, let's say, 3 months ago?
It's really in terms of expanse, right? So I came into HCL a year ago. I had responsibility for Domino and Same Time. And then since then, I've added Connections and DX. And it's just kept expanding. So anything that's in Richard Jeff's portfolio, I have responsibility for. I should say and should point out that I have a fabulous team of product managers to work with, and a fantastic team of people inside HCL to work with as well.
Who do you work very closely with?
That's a good question. So it's really a team. It's more of a leadership team, and then, you know, an organization associated with that. So from a leadership team perspective, you know, we have, you know, Richard Jeffs, who's our general manager for digital solutions. I work with Jason Gary from a CTO perspective. I work with Francois Nasser, who is our head of go-to-market. I work with marketing with Andy Bosley and different members of his team. It's really cross-functional in that regard. So it's, I mean, I want to sort of say perhaps a couple of things is that, there are a couple of times in your career, and I've been fortunate enough to work in many different software businesses, whether it's databases, object databases, data integration, analytics, marketing information systems, IP, intellectual property for financial services, including insurance, banking. So I've had a broad swath of sort of product management and product marketing and marketing experience across all of those. And a couple of times, I think the difference is really timing and, a great team. So, I was around when we started the data stage data integration business, and I would say the timing of the market was right, and we had a great leadership team in place at the time. And, I think that that's the important thing to get across is, I think there's a great opportunity for digital solutions, and we have a great team in place. And, I think the track record has been great so far, and we will only continue to do bigger and better things with the community, with DNUG and other communities.
Excellent. I like to hear that. As we are the focus group for connections, you might assume that we are especially interested in everything all around connections. So who do you work with closely in the connections setup?
Specifically for connections, one of them is a TA organization and experts, SMEs like Martti, who's here, who's smiling. It's also, Rene Hagemeyer from a development perspective. He's a development leader for that. I have two product managers, Adam Gartenberg and Rene Schimmer, who's involved in that as well. And then again, the community associated with that.
Thank you. How do you see HCL Connections? So what do you think is the unique selling proposition of this solution? What are the use cases that you think these are the most important use cases for customers? And what is your idea and vision for connections in the future?
Okay, well, that actually is a somewhat straightforward question. So, from my perspective, the way I tend to think about things is really with three levels, right? One of which is market, product, and technology, right? So, it's no good actually having good technology if the product's not great and the market timing's not right, or you don't have the right channel. So, what I'm trying to think about from a market and product strategy is, do we have the right product with the right capability and the right way to get to market? So I'm very encouraged by, connections. I think it's interesting. I speak to analysts and I speak to customers and I speak to partners on a regular basis. I mean, it's actually interesting that because of the time of COVID, intranets are actually making more of a comeback, right? COOs inside organizations are thinking, well, this is pretty important technology because now everyone's working remotely. So now there's more emphasis on it. So there's certainly more attention on it. I think that, what we're working on right now is we have an exciting version 7 release coming out at the end of the year. And what we're looking forward to is further honing our employee engagement and the intranet message by bringing together a number of things, DX, same time, and connections to deliver value. And I think the best way to do that is through use cases and outcomes. So I'll make a pitch. So we have actually initiated a customer survey that should be out there already. So I'd love to see everyone, as many people as possible, completing that survey, right? Because that will give us an accurate picture of what are the use cases people using connections for. And I think intrinsic within that is we'll take that information, and I believe we can take the marketing of the product to the next level. Because I really think a lot of what we need to focus on with a great roadmap that we have and release version 7 is really more on the how we present the value of the value proposition of the product.
Mm-hmm. Andrew, sounds all very logically to me, but what is your unique factor in the software? How do you disrupt the market by connections and the surrounding environment? Any ideas you can share on that?
Oh, so you're poking me.
Yeah.
Going back to what you were asking me about what my role is. So I wouldn't, in one way you could say my role is to be an agent provocateur, because now I have everything under one umbrella. And I think you probably noticed with the Domino roadmap, we've actually done things to sort of change things up. We added Vault. We've been very focused on how we could improve the product. I think by removing some of those barriers, okay, we have separate development teams, but we have the opportunity to say, what does the experience of an intranet or a digital office or a digital workplace look like for a customer in the future? And that's certainly something that come November, we're going to be telling you and showing you some of our ideas for the digital office and how we are planning to disrupt that. What that will look like, you'll just have to wait and see.
Oh, any secrets you already can share with the next DNUG event on Connections, October 6th?
It's too soon. No, your event's not too soon, but I'm saying, I'm going to continue to tease you about that. But we'll share that in November when we do our announcements around Connections at the same time.
So in November, we should listen very closely to HCL Digital Solutions to learn the latest news about what to expect in Connections.
Yes, well, certainly in terms of Connections for version 7, what we're going to be doing with multi-tenant, right? Because we have a lot of people who've moved from Connections Cloud to our cloud hosting MSPs, and we want to make sure that the multi-tenant version catches up with release 7. And then, we have the opportunity to mix it up a little bit. So looking forward to sharing that with everyone, seeing what people's reaction is. And by the way, we are going to come up with a code name for it as well. So maybe we can share the code name in October.
Yeah,
hey, that's already one promise. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So we are looking forward to Connection 7, which is announced to be published at the end of this year. That was the latest information. So if you look at 2021, would there be some kind of a tag that you say this is the year of in regards of Connections?
No, I'd much rather sort of say that I think what you'll notice from us is, I think in the last year, we've been sort of individually sort of focused on, working each one of those product areas, resetting the strategies, if appropriate, creating a North Star, if you like, for each one of them in terms of an objective. I like to call it a BHAG, and if you look at the Harvard Business Review, you can look up what a BHAG is. But really, really thinking about the mission for the product, what is its core capabilities, and its reason for being, and how does it differentiate itself. And I think that the other piece that you'll see that was missing, you'll see from us is really telling the story about digital transformation. And what does it mean for our portfolio to help with, a customer experience journey? What does it mean from an employee experience standpoint, right? So you'll see more in that sort of area. And instead of, and what I think you'll see is bringing the portfolio of capabilities we have to be able to solve those individual problems, and to channel Bern Cavera is one of the roles I have within that would be to be the Chief Integration Officer. Right, so incumbent upon, there I got another thumbs up there, and you know, incumbent upon, you know, not only setting, you know, what's meaningful from an outcome perspective, is and putting those things together, but what does that really mean? Because until you break down some of those silos and make it easier for those things to integrate, that's when the value magnification actually happens. And that's not to say that, you know, I haven't had Agnes, who's the Verse product manager, work with Ginisani, who's the Same Time product manager, to build the user stories for Verse and Same Time, and they've been working with Renee as far as connections concerned. They have, right? But now we have the opportunity to do that. I don't think you can get it all done in 1 year, but you'll see us making good, steady progress along a vision in that regard.
Okay, so from this Chief Integration Officer guy who always asks for that one, so I
Yes.
always in the struggle whether you provide a platform or whether you provide a product, since I'm more the product customer. So what can you say to that one, product versus platform?
I don't know that I can actually add much more. I mean, I'm going to be focused on the outcome, and if it makes it easy, we're going to make it easy to deliver that outcome based on what we provide. Now, what does that mean from a packaging standpoint? I think it's a little too early to say. But if you've been watching what we've been doing with Domino, we're certainly making it easy for customers to consume things, right? We added Vault. You know, we made it a very straight additional uplift on CCB. We also plan to roll out the same program for Same Time customers. To roll out the capability adding Same Time meetings to Domino. So I'm very aware of, you know, how do we make the outcome work? And then Martti, who's smiling here, has to deliver on that. We're very conscious of how do we make that easy to consume.
Okay, that sounds very promising. You have this great AHA platform for that one, and maybe you will melt them too, since it's now one. You have Domino and Connections, both segregated into platforms, into AHA universes, so you will melt them?
It's a good question. I don't think that we were sort of planning necessarily to do that. We may move things around a little bit, but you know, still too early to say.
Okay. But you continue this approach, so customer feedback, business partner feedback,
100%.
openly communicated, so which I love, to be honest. Yeah.
I think that, you know, on the connection side, we need to do a little bit more to get the level of engagement up on AHA.
Mm-hmm. The technological stack of connections with this classic stack, I would call it, with Web Application Server and Oracle DB2 databases, and that's the new stack with Docker components on Kubernetes. Can you say a little bit more about this? What to expect there in the future, in the next year?
I don't think I'm ready to talk about that, Andreas, yet.
I'm just trying.
Yeah, I know you're trying. I mean, we are going to provide in version 7 additional support for OpenShift and for Kubernetes on AWS for the component pack. Now, I mean, that's a trend that's been going on in multiple parts of our product. And in the Domino side, you'll see in version 12, you'll see a big uptick in that, right? I mean, we already support Red Hat, but we'll have explicit support for OpenShift in version 12. And you'll see very specific integration. We'll have specific operators. I'm sure we'll have Helm charts. We'll also have support for embedded Grafana, those types of things.
Excellent. And you will be with us in the connections track of DNUG 47 online on the 6th of October this year, right?
I will be, yes.
Excellent. So anyone who has more questions for Andrew, just come to the DNUG 47 online connections track October 6th in the afternoon, European time zone, or in the morning, America's time zone. Yeah. Andrew, thank you very much. It was a pleasure and looking forward to talking to you soon again.
Absolutely. It was a real pleasure. And I look forward to, October 6th. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you make the best of the time to...
And you learned a new word as well.
Bollocks.
Yeah, that's